if I can whistle more of that song. Okay, there we go. Hey, folks. Hope everyone's doing well this evening. Hello, Carowin. That other Ted, Der Alt Trekkie, Homebody, Gozer, Aaron, Crystal, Aongas. Don't know if I ever do that right. Ms. Wicked Wolf, Herbie, John, Karasu. Everybody's getting in on this. Glad to see folks here. Tara, Madison, Cora, Will. Ooh, time traveling waffle. Do you have time traveling maple syrup to go with that? That's my only question. I'm actually not a huge fan of waffles. Oh, cappuccino. See, now you're just all saying hi. See if I'll do everybody. Knit and Crochet Tiger, Renee, Nevermore, Hollow Coffin. I think I've gotten everybody. Did I say Franklin? Hi, Franklin. All right, that's it. I'm not doing it as more people come in. But there you go. I'm on page 121. I need to vanish soon because it's morning in Germany and I need to continue writing. I understand the push to get to your writing. Yeah, I get that. Oh, thank you, Homebody. Thank you very much. I don't wear this dress often. This is a wrap dress, which is the only one I have. And I do like it. I just always feel like I'm about to fall out of it, which, like, depending on my mood, can almost be like a ooh. But then, when I'm broadcasting on a platform that I could get banned off of if it falls off me, then it's a bit like, okay. My mom has been looking at a Christian film review site that's very anti-anime, and now I'm panicking. Oh God, is anime still like on the religious conservative hit list? I remember that being an issue when I was a kid in the 90s, basically for the same reason that friggin' South Park was. Like, it's animated, but it's not always for kids, and sometimes it's adult content. Yes, because elsewhere in the world, they recognize that cartoons aren't just for children's mindless entertainment, you morons. What's on my mind tonight? Nothing. Empty mind, empty brain. No thoughts. It's like the wind whistling through my head. I don't know if that came across. Screw it. Besides that, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Say hello to Joni? Sure. Hi, Joni. Last band you listened to is now the band you have to take a road trip with. Who are you going with? See, the thing is, technically the last band I listened to was a one-man band, so I really hope I would get along with him, otherwise that'd be really bad, and that's Miracle of Sound. I hadn't listened to his stuff in a while, and I got into that in the car because I had to run errands. And that took longer than I would have liked because the stupid pharmacy decided to fill my prescription at the next town over. Yeah. Pendant is lovely. Thank you. It's just a bit of a geode, I think, or something like that. It's sort of from my kid. It's one of those things where, like, she, the school sends kids home with like these catalogs, like, get your parents to buy stuff out of this, and it's a fundraising thing. And so, like, I bought this out of that catalog to support her. So I like to think that she gave me this. She didn't really. I paid for it and picked it out, but I did it because of her. So, close enough, I suppose. Michael Anderson Doyle, thank you very much for the super chat. And oh no, that's a member. That's a membership renewal. You still get it right there. While I've been a member for 2 months, I've been a fan for longer and consider myself blessed to have met you all, especially Queen Nathaniel. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Did I hear about Bob Saget? I did. Also heard about Sidney Poitier. It's this year. this year's kind of off to a start. If I'm gonna be honest about it, wanted to ask, have I watched Utopia, the TV show? No, I don't know what that is. So no. I don't know about religion, but my father didn't let me watch Sailor Moon or Ranma 1/2 when I was 5 to 8. That's when anime got to Argentina with DBZ, Zeki, Mikami. Well, like Ranma 1/2, I understand why that one freaks out religious folks and conservatives, because, you know, gender stuff. But I have the first, I think I have the first 2 volumes of that. I need to reread that, but I'm scared to, because I'm afraid of how badly it will have aged. I did like it when I first read it. Can't imagine why. Does my child call me mom? No, my kid calls me dad. I'm dad. I'll always be dad. No matter what happens with my own gender journey, even if at some point in the future I start identifying as a trans woman and as purely femme and don't even go with the gender neutral they pronoun anymore, I will still be dad. Now that's me. That is not something that you should take as a blanket for every gender fluid or transitioning or transitioned parent. Some of them will have their title relative to their kids change. But speaking only for myself, I'm always going to be dad. That's the relationship that I have with my kid. And that relationship doesn't change even as I do. So I will never be mom. I will always be dad. Which is also fun because it confuses the hell out of people. I'm partial to confusing folks. The year started with Betty White dying. Technically, 2021 ended with Betty White dying. So, you know. Yeah, I didn't grow up on shows like Full House. Like, I watched a little of things like Family Matters and like a handful of other things, like very, very little. I didn't grow up on those the way a lot of my generation did. So while obviously my heart goes out to his fans, his family and friends, I don't have a particularly tight connection to Bob Saget. Did you watch the early 2000s show The Lost World? Nope. I hate religion. I don't hate religion. I hate the way many people choose to practice religion. But I am thankfully old enough and have a wide enough breadth of experience that I've had the privilege of meeting many people who are religious, and their religion matters to them deeply, but they're not hurtful, they're not hateful, they're not closed-minded. I think if you are fortunate, if that has been your experience of religiously minded people so far, I hope that you will meet some people who are not that. Because some of the most empathetic and thoughtful people I have met are people who actively practice some form of faith. I always get very nervous when anybody, especially in the U.S., makes a blanket statement of I hate religion or religion is harmful, because very often, especially in the U.S., and I would say Western society in general, but the U.S. especially, when people say that, their beef is very specifically with Christianity, but they take that and they blanket every religious practice with it. I feel like what happens is that people in the U.S., they will understand the specific harm that Christianity can and has done within this country, and they understand possibly say Islamic extremism, especially if they happen to live through 9/11. And then they go, well, that's two instances of me seeing religion be terrible. So all religion is terrible. Like, look, faiths do not all look the same. They don't all operate the same. And like weird random tangent, but it's one of the reasons why little moments and things like Batman v Superman, where there's a talking head on the TV talking about Superman, and he says every religion on this planet has some kind of messianic figure. No, they freaking don't. The ones you're thinking of do, but no, they don't. And like anytime anyone says that kind of blanket thing about all religion, just displays the ignorance that you don't know what you're talking about. And you have had a couple of probably validly nasty experiences with religion or religious people, and you are just blanketing everybody with it. And just don't do that. Don't. Whatever cosplays Edward Scissorhands, probably not. It is too elaborate for my taste. Is Vermont a religiously minded state or secular by U.S. standards? By U.S. standards, Vermont is fairly secular, all things considered. Vermont is, by U.S. standards, fairly liberal and fairly secular. It varies, region to region. It is, it can be weird sometimes, but yeah, it's not a particularly, like, you're not going to see people in the State House aren't going to quote the Bible as a reason to pass a law. That's not going to happen around here. What was my first anime show? That's a good question. I'm actually not entirely sure. Suppose it depends how strictly you want to define it. I think the first one that, like, I paid attention to, God, it might have been Blue Seed. Because I got into anime film before I got into anime shows. Because I didn't have reliable access to television growing up. Let's see. What's my favorite song from Tick, Tick, Boom? I think the way the film did Therapy was incredible. Therapy was really well adapted. As far as adaptationally done, I would say Therapy. As far as just a song to just listen to, that's tougher. It kind of goes back and forth between 3090, Louder Than Words, and Johnny Can't Decide for the film version. Honestly, the stage version, I like Boho Life best, but they shortened that one up for the movie. They didn't butcher it, but they did shorten it and cut some of the bits I like. John Vinyls, thank you very much. And remember, folks, yes, a super chat guarantees that I will respond to your comment or question. I don't make any promises otherwise, and it gets you a heart to show my appreciation. Thoughts on The Forgotten City? It's a game that's been recommended to me by several people that I have not played. That's my thoughts. New type JB Lee, thank you very much. From the 60s to the 90s in the Spidey comics, Peter and his cast were allowed to have organic growth, and death meant death. It's sad we can't go back to that. It is, but like for us to try and roll that back and get back to that requires a fundamental reshaping of how comic books are handled. Like, it worked for a while because there was a stretch of time where aging in real time or close to real time was a reasonable thing. But then as they properly got into the 90s and these characters started hitting their 30th anniversaries in a lot of cases, it just stopped being particularly viable. And that's when A lot of the 90s were not good to comics. Spidey especially. God, freaking Clone Saga. Hui. What are my thoughts on Disney's Gargoyles? Great show! Don't bother with the third season. Sailor Moon sparked my sexual orientation awakening. I remember catching an episode or two of Sailor Moon, like when I was at my grandparents' in the summer. I never went out of my way to watch it, though. I think like I just caught a bit of it one time. That was about it. And I was a little too old for Pokemon when that hit. I want to watch Tick Tick Boom, but Vanessa Hudgens taints it for me. She is minor. Like, okay. I understand. I do understand. Sometimes some actors just make you go, ugh. I have that with Sam Rockwell. But, like, she's playing one of the actors. Not the actual people in Jonathan's life. She's playing one of the actors that is performing the shows. She's playing one of the people in the oh God, what the hell's in the workshop, who's just performing the songs. She's not really a character. Not to sound like too callous about it, but like get over it. Mandy Mateer, thank you very much for the super chat. What's the first thing you'd do if given a TARDIS? Blow it up. I would not trust me with it, nor would I trust anyone else with it. So, that's probably not the answer anyone wanted to hear, but yeah. Unless I act super impulsively, I just blow it up. Aside from How I Met Your Mother, the only other major Bob Saget... oh, sorry, that message got retracted. I was in the middle of reading it. Fine, I won't then. Whatever. What did Sam Rockwell do? Sam Rockwell screwed up my favorite character in my favorite book and completely misunderstood the character of Zaphod Beeblebrox. Fundamentally, to his core, to be fair, so did the director and the writers. So it wasn't just him, but it was wrong. So wrong. It was wrong in the most superficial way. Because the reason that Zaphod Beeblebrox is a fascinating character is because of what is underneath the surface level, but they just did the surface level, and I'm like, that get drove me nuts. Fun fact, Bob Saget was on a WB show called Raising Dad, in which he was raising two daughters, those young ladies, Kat Dennings and Brie Larson. Huh. Okay, then. Okay, I don't know how we got to the subject of Legend of the Overfiend. Oh, boy. Things have taken a turn in the chat. Oh, boy. Did I watch Stargate? I never watched the show. I watched the movie. I think I own the movie on DVD, actually. I like the movie a lot. I never got around to the show. Is my heart 2 sizes too small? Not last I checked. I don't know if that's a pointed question that I'm missing or what that was. Would you consider an essay on why the X-Men series veers so wildly from good to great to garbage, given it predated Spider-Man, i.e. the parent? So, do you mean the movies? When you say the X-Men series, are we talking the film series, the comic series, or any number of the multitude of TV series? You're gonna have to narrow that down. Why do I feel John Malkovich would have made it better as Zaphod? I'm sorry, Zaphod. I need to remember that's how it's actually pronounced. He might have. I don't know. It was made around a time Malkovich seemed to be sleeping his way through a lot of roles, so I don't know if it actually would have ended up better. Anyways, Tara Stoller, thank you so very much. If I had a TARDIS, I would go back in time to find out if humanity ever makes it past climate change and capitalism, and if they did, stay there. That's the thing. If they did, if they didn't, you're gonna end up real depressed. That's a bit of a gamble you're making. Aside from How I Met Your Mother, the only major Bob Saget thing I watched was his notable appearance in the documentary about the aristocrats joke. I saw that documentary. I actually didn't think his version was that great. There were others that I liked a lot more than his. His was one of the grossest, sure, but I actually didn't think his version was that funny. Maybe it's just me. Legend of the Overfiend thing is my fault. Well, I think anyone who knows Legend of the Overfiend knows what kind of punishment would be befitting you having brought that up. Have you read the Gargoyles comic books? Nope. First X-Men movie. Okay, so... All right, if we're talking about the inconsistency of the X-Men film franchise, it largely comes down to there never really was a clear person steering the ship. So the thing that Marvel has honestly lucked out on more than anything else is that they have Kevin Feige. And Kevin Feige, I'm not trying to make him sound like some kind of amazing creative god. He's not. But what he's incredibly good at is keeping everything organized and everybody on the same page. There really hasn't been an overseer of these attempts at continuing franchises or, expansive cinematic universes that has measured up to him. There have been ones who were trying, who were supposed to be, but they either flamed out or it just has never really worked. Kathleen Kennedy was supposed to be that for Star Wars. She doesn't seem to have managed to find the same sweet spot and understanding the material and what the fans want out of it that Feige has. But the short version is because the Kara, do you mind with the spam nonsense? I'd appreciate it. With the X-Men franchise, because there was no overseer, project to project, it absolutely would veer wildly because you had the first two films, directed by the same person. Not a person we like. Bryan Singer can go take a long walk off a short pier. But, that was a fairly singular person helming those. Then we get to the third one, which had to follow on from stuff that was set up in the second, but had to be done by people who weren't involved in that setup and clearly wanted to do a different story. So that was a jumbled mess. You bring in a whole new sensibility with First Class, which was solid. I don't like as much as a lot of people, or at least a lot of people I know. But that ended up being solid, had a solid immediate follow-up with Days of Future Past. But then, it felt like the people who were still there didn't want to be anymore. Apocalypse is one, and Apocalypse and then also Dark Phoenix are two of the most soulless, everybody's just there to cash a paycheck vibe off of those movies of almost any major studio project I can think of. They really have almost nothing to recommend them. And and that was the point at which they were also just throwing whatever at the wall because very clearly X-Men Origins Wolverine, which on paper made sense because, you're going to spin off Wolverine. He's the most popular one. He works as a solo character. Why not? But then they made a movie that was clearly about setting up a ton of other stuff to do and was a semi-incoherent mess that nobody really liked. They did a more focused version for the sequel with him that people liked better, but it wasn't enough of a step up. But then by the time they got to Deadpool and Logan and New Mutants, clearly Fox didn't know what to do, and they were just throwing whatever they could at the wall to see what stuck. And they got lucky because Logan stuck, Deadpool stuck, and they just kept kicking New Mutants down the line because they probably realized it wasn't good. So there hasn't been a consistent handler on that. And it's just the franchise as a whole kept changing hands, creative hands. Like they had producers carry over from film to film, but they weren't producers with a vision for what the overall shape of the thing should be, the way Kevin Feige is. So it just didn't work out very well for that. I saw that Full Fat Videos like put up an essay today about just porting in the existing X-Men into the MCU instead of rebooting them, which I haven't watched the video. I disagree just on premise. I'm sure he makes a good case. He usually does, but like, no, it's like, no, don't do that. Anyways, moving on. Welsh Wrestling Geeks. That sounds niche. I like it. You get a heart, my friend. Thank you very, very much. Now some time has passed. Do you believe Series 13 of Doctor Who is worse than Series 11 or Series 7? I am not going to answer that because the video that is coming out not this Saturday, but the following Saturday is a re-ranking of all the series, including Flux. So I'm not telling you because it would spoil upcoming video. So instead you get a tease. Thank you, Black Cover. I appreciate that. Magic was good in the New Mutants. She was not. Oh my God. No, she was not. They took Ilyana. They took Colossus's little sister and made her the bitch. No! Go sit in the corner. Magic was good in New Mutants. Good grief. Ha! Anyways, thank you very much, New Type JB Lee. The early years of married Peter had beloved arcs like Kraven's Last Hunt, Venom, Harry's death. So why do some people still dislike the marriage anyway? Okay, well, there's a number of things that people didn't like about the marriage. Some people honestly just held the origins of the marriage against the marriage as a whole, because the marriage in the comics was done super rushed. It kind of came out of nowhere. Really, the only reason that it's there is because Stan Lee was writing the comic strip version of Spider-Man, which something that people younger than me won't understand that is a thing that actually exists. And he was having Mary Jane and Peter marry in the comics. So for the sake of intermediate continuity, they very hastily have Mary Jane and Peter get married in the comics. I think they were actually in an off phase of their off again, on again relationship, and very suddenly got back together and got married. So this feeling of a very superficial and rushed and hasty and ill-advised way to handle their marriage is something that a lot of fans held against the marriage no matter what storylines came out of it later, which I think was very petty. Because I like them. I like Peter married. I like Peter having at least a semi-stable home life as opposed to a complete disaster home life. So I liked married Peter. But a lot of fans, particularly fans who had been around prior to them getting married, did not like it at all. And then you have the both writers and fans who think for some reason that a married and functioning couple is boring. These people are boring. that's my opinion on that. Will you perhaps be checking your P.O. box in, say, 3 or 4 days' time? I can be. I can check it later in the week, easily enough. The racism of Magic and New Mutants was a huge WTF. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. My partner just turned 30. Do you have any advice for her? She says it feels weird. Wait till you're about to turn 40. No, like 30 does feel weird though. 30's the age where you feel like you have no business feeling like a kid anymore. Where you feel like I'm now a proper adult, or I'm supposed to be. And so people tend to either feel weird or feel that there's something wrong with them for however big the disparity is between how they still feel young, but they believe they're supposed to be an adult. And that disconnect is not fun. You'll roll with it. You'll get the hang of it. This too shall pass. But yeah, no, it's an awkward transition. While we're talking Spider-Man, have you ever played the Spider-Man 2 PS2 game? I have not. I know Yahtzee Croshaw swears by it, but I have not. What type of stone are you wearing? I believe it is a geode. I am not 100% sure. I'd have to go check my old purchase on that. Thoughts on Dexter? Well, keep in mind, I have not seen the revival of the show. My thoughts on the original Dexter was that it had 7 seasons of good to great television. Best season is season 2. Season 7 is underrated, as is season 5 for that matter. Everyone swears by season 4. It's good. It's not the best. Season 2 is the best season of that. And season 8 is such a crash and burn. Holy crap. Holy crap. What's the weirdest thing a fan has ever sent you? I don't want to use weird because I feel like there is an inherent negative connotation to weird. There are some unusual things I've been sent. I got sent a whole bunch of canned pickles, like single pickles in cans. That in theory you put in the glove compartment of your car for a driving snack. I got sent a whole bunch of those. That was interesting. I have, and it's over there. Somebody made for me. I think it's crocheted, or it's either crocheted or knit. I'm really bad at sorting out. Somebody made a little doll of me. And, I've had fan art made, which I also love. But the fact that somebody actually, made that and sent it to me, it's like, oh my gosh. And there's also this multicolored dragon, this rainbow dragon, which is a custom piece that somebody made and sent to me. These are unusual, non-standard things, but it's the things that either I didn't know that was a thing that existed at all, or that people made that they sent me. I'm like, that you put time at the people put thought into things they send me all the time, and I absolutely appreciate that. But some of the things I get, I'm like, you put amounts of time into that I don't even know if I could harness for myself, and you did it for another person. You did it for me. Now, that's not to make anyone feel like, oh, I didn't make you something by hand to send you. Oh, you must not think about... No. Look, I feel the appreciation and the love in packages that are sent to me. What you put in, I feel it when I open them up. So even if something you've sent to me is a pre-bought item, if it's secondhand, I will still appreciate the heck out of it. Turning Red will be on Disney Plus instead of theaters. That's a question mark at the end of that. Are you asking me or are you telling me? Sorry to ask this again, but could you answer the question someone commented on my video? I assumed it's intended in good Faith, I don't have a Twitter, by the way. I'm missing something, Black Cover. I'm not... Someone... I don't know what the question you're referring to is. I'm lost on that one. If you can catch me up, I'll try and help. Something I will always find funny is Captain America, Steve Rogers, isn't even American biologically speaking. He's Irish. No, I'm not kidding. That is entertaining. Michael Anderson Doyle, thank you very much for the super chat. Here I am about to turn 50 and thinking how weird it is that I'm turning 50. It feels weird to be turning 40. So, like, yeah, no, I feel like, here's the thing to keep in mind. Decades don't actually mean anything. The human brain is wired to, to go with factors of 10 for most of us. So we ascribe meaning to things that fit into tens, but, decades don't have meaning. It's an arbitrary amount of time. They're not special. Neither are years, for that matter. Collectively, the overall progression of time matters, but it's the end of one year, the start of it, New Year's. It doesn't mean anything. We made it up. It does not actually have special significance. That's not to say that it can't mean something to you, but I'm talking in the vastness of the universe, it's just one day turning into another. And when enough of them do that, we arbitrarily call it a year. And when enough of those happen, we arbitrarily call it a decade. They're not as meaningful as we ascribe to them. What I love about Amy and Rory is they refute the idea that married couples are boring. I'd agree with that. Any ideas how to spend a certain someone's 25th birthday? I don't know. I haven't done anything interesting for my birthday in an embarrassingly long amount of time. That was supposed to change in 2020. We're probably going to be coming up on my 3rd birthday where it's not going to be safe for me to even try and do anything of note. Do you think people say that season 4 is the best entirely because of John Lithgow? I think that's a big part of it. I think a lot of people were bowled over by the ending of it for Dexter. I suspect those are parts of it. Favorite pie to eat around the holidays? Apple, mincemeat, pumpkin. I'm partial to apple. Always kind of have been. Although I have a tradition of having chocolate cream pie at Thanksgiving. So, spoiled that way. So few who questions. So thoughts on the Sea Devil design and the idea of bringing them back? I love the idea of bringing them back. I think the design is very true to the original. I love the Sea Devils. So I'm eager. We'll see if it works. Hey, at least you'll never go hungry when you're driving if you've got a pickle. Why don't you like waffles? I don't like particularly sweet breakfasts. They're cloying to me at this point. Pancakes, waffles, French toast, and a lot of this stuff is pretty rich. More than one, and my body's just like, what are you doing? Dude, first thing in the morning, what are you doing? Have you ever seen any of the shows produced by Vivian Madrano? Will you ever make a video on them? If not, they are worth watching. I don't know what shows have been produced by Vivian Madrano. So you'd have to cite me examples because I don't know. The video was a clip of you talking about the BBC. Oh, okay. All right. Is your username in this that you use for chat, is that your YouTube channel where this all went down? Because I can check that later tonight. If your YouTube channel is named something different, you need to tell me. Watch Don't Look Up because of your review. I thought it was great. It's a must-see, and it's 150% accurate to how a human race would react. Tonight I'm watching Encanto. I'm glad you liked it. I didn't particularly, but I do think Encanto's a better movie regardless. Let's see. I might have said this before, but do you expect RTD to pull the rug out from under our feet and make season 14 and going forward something completely different than his first era? I mean, I don't expect it to be a rehash of what he did with his previous time, but I also don't think he's the kind of person to do something just because people aren't expecting it. He doesn't strike me as someone who's gonna just pull the "ooh, you didn't see that coming, did you? Ooh, I gotcha." Like, I don't think he's that kind of creator. At least I hope not, because that's how you get Game of Thrones season 8, and nobody wants Game of Thrones season 8. I had asked you about it in an earlier stream. You told me to remind you over Twitter, but I don't have a Twitter. Okay. Well, just let me know in chat if that is the name of your YouTube channel, and I will try and set a reminder. To clarify, what I mean is fans of the show who are like, now things will go back to normal with RTD again, and RTD being like, nope, here's something drastically different. I think he's going to do whatever he feels like doing. And I personally am of the opinion that it will probably be something different from what he did before, because he doesn't strike me as the kind of person who wants to keep repeating the same stuff over and over again. Yes, it's this user. Okay, great. Awesome. New type GB Lee, thank you very much for the super chat. How come no Spidey adaptation captured the sarcastic edge of Ditko era Spidey, with Pete trading harsh quips with Flash? Is the Ramita era more popular? There's some weirdness in the Ditko era. There's a nastiness to especially the latter end of Ditko's run that I, for one, don't love. I don't know other fans' assessments of it. NerdSync did a very, very well done video recently on Ditko, and Ditko's work on Spider-Man in specific, but also other stuff about him and how that kind of influenced his work on Spider-Man in particular, but also in general. Yeah, I think by the time he finished on Spider-Man, some of Ditko's less pleasant aspects were bleeding into the character in ways that at least I don't particularly care for. Over the years, I've started to hate, a word I don't like to use, is that people only look at Superman and see the powers and say characters like Homelander is a Superman proxy. See, well, I can't speak to Homelander specifically because I don't watch The Boys. So I think part of it is people are very haphazard with their words. People will use proxy when maybe a better term would be deconstruction or inversion or parody of the idea of Superman. You're right. A lot of people, especially people who don't actually read Superman but know just enough about him, seem to not understand the character very much. And because a lot of the recurring criticisms of Superman as a character feel like they come from people who don't understand why he works, and they come in with an assumption that, like, no, Superman is a bad character because X. I'm like, but that's not even true. Like, all he does is punch things. No, he doesn't. His disguise is stupid. No, his disguise works. It's been addressed phenomenally in some stories and explained incredibly well. But even people who will go on and on and on, like freaking Tarantino with Kill Bill Volume 2, don't understand Superman. And it's weird because he's not that complicated. I don't know why he's so hard to get for some people. Question mark regarding Turning Red being on Disney Plus was a typo. Oh, okay. I mean, it makes sense. A lot of the theaters are shutting down again. Are you planning to watch the Naomi show? It looks interesting. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry to tell you this if you don't, but did you know someone did a live stream about one of your gatekeeping videos? I did not know that. Do I want to know who did that? Like, some of those videos are real old. I'm not sure how much I'd stand by some of them now. Some of them are like 2-3 years old. Unless it's one of the newer ones. But I don't know. I read the title, and yo, is it bi-weekly already? It's the live stream has always been bi-weekly. Oh, is it bi-week already? No, every week's bi-week. Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss. Oh, I've heard of those. I think I tried watching Has Been Hotel, and it was a little too chaotic, a little too hyper for my tastes. I didn't try past that. Would it be funny if Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei showed up in Cobra Kai as Daniel's cousin and his wife? Yes. Yes, it would. It won't happen, but yes. Yes, that would be funny. Have I seen Tangled the series? Nope. Heard a couple of the songs from it. They're pretty good. Just popping in to say hi in the middle of filming at the moment. Well, good to see you, Lewis. Oh, John. Sneaky bugger. 7-foot frame, rats along his back. When he calls your name, it all fades to black. I'm not going to keep going because I don't want the thing to get flagged. We don't talk about Bruno. I watched the first season of American Gods and liked it, but I heard season 2 isn't worth it. It's not. I didn't even see season 3. I heard it's better than season 2, but that is not saying a lot. Let's see here. On the subject of RTD, I finally watched It's a Sin. So good, but so sad. Yep. The Naomi show is a DCU character, one of the less known. Okay. I just found out that the actress who plays Elvira came out of the closet last year. I should not have been surprised as I was. Like, that was one of those instances where it's like, I actually found myself thinking, was she not out before? Are we sure? Really? That was really great. To be fair to Tarantino, that is a villain's take on Superman. To say more about the characters, it says more about the character's skew perspective. Fair, but at the same time, like, Tarantino does kind of have his head up his own ass. I do still like Kill Bill. Naomi is an Ava DuVernay DC television show premieres today. Okay. I have not heard of this thing. Oh, Bookworm of the Fandoms. Thank you very much. You get a heart. I appreciate that greatly. Encanto's my new favorite animated movie. First one in a long time that I'm interacting with the fan base. I forget if you answered this in your review, but did you have a favorite song and or character when you watched it? There's some really good songs. I think Surface Pressure and Louisa, as a result, are probably both my favorite. Partially because, like, I feel like that song exemplifies a lot of what's really going on. Like, there are other songs that do as well, but there's something about how hard that one hits home with the idea of what these people are sacrificing for the notion of helping their family and what they're losing of themselves and are continuing to move forward regardless. And plus, you know, I'm not going to go so far as to say I have a type. I actually don't. I find a wide spectrum of body shapes and types to be attractive. But, like, between this and Scorpia, I definitely have to cop to the fact that muscled women who could break me in half. There's a thing. There's a thing there. That's, yeah. I I wouldn't recommend watching the live stream. It's just bigots trying to justify their bigotry. I just didn't know whether to tell you or not. Make you sad. Please forgive. Whatever. I'm actually, the only thing is I'm surprised that stuff doesn't happen more than it does. I honestly think the only reason it doesn't happen to me more is because I think a lot of bigots are actually confused by me, and they're too confused to come at me. Not that like it gives me an immunity, but you pay attention for more than 10 seconds and you'll quickly realize the standards of you'll never be a woman, and that stuff actually doesn't apply because I don't claim to be in the first place, and then they just don't know what to do. So I think I puzzle enough of them that they're like, I'm gonna find an easier, more straightforward target. The Discord, yes, thank you, Carowin. Just give me one moment, I'll get right to that. John Vinyls, once again, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. Ever read the magical realist literature that helped inspire Encanto? No, I have not. But I'm just going to pop over to the Discord. Real quick reminder that is the other place where you can post, and it is guaranteed that I will read your comment or question because it is a Patreon exclusive perk. Patreon.com/Council of Geeks. Are the live streams getting later by a half hour? No, not as a regular thing. I was interviewing somebody for an upcoming video project pretty much immediately before, and I wanted to have a buffer. I ended up not needing as much of a buffer as I gave myself, but like I need to learn to build in time buffers more than I currently do, because I do think it's an ADHD thing that I have a tendency to just fill the time as much as is possible, but that means that the instant something goes longer than I expect it to or starts later than I expect it to, there's a domino effect. So I'm trying to get better about setting padding. And that's the only one I got in there. Cool. Popping back in. You could do a TikTok with Elvira's. No, this is a bust. Quote, just saying. Oh, wonderfully terrible humor. She's good stuff. I cast a transgender actress as Madame Morrible in... Oh, sorry. They cast a transgender actress as Madame Morrible in Wicked. Her name is Alexandra Billings. She's the first trans actress that they cast. Sorry, Ms. Wicked Wolf. I don't mean to be a pedantic jackass, but I am correcting you because casted, that's not... No, they cast. He was cast, she was cast. They cast this person. It's never casted. Have you heard that Guillermo del Toro is producing an animated version of Pinocchio? Is it going animated now? I know he'd been working on a version of Pinocchio like for ages. I knew that was a thing. I don't think I'd heard that it was going to be animated now. Speaking of Superman, I've read that the John Kent book with that image, and it's not bad. The whole story is John stretching himself super thin to try and make his dad proud. Yeah, they've been doing a lot of stuff with Superman lately that I'm like, that sounds interesting. I'm still not going to read it, but on paper at least. One thing I will give Encanto credit for is they didn't do the whole Sky High thing with Maribel. I was so relieved. Actually, after we watched it for the first time, I talked to my kid about that. About how I was dreading that the thing at the end would be, and now she gets a gift out of nowhere. Like, no, it's so much more interesting and it actually means something if she doesn't have a gift, but she still matters. Like, God, Sky High pissed me off so much. So goddamn much that movie pissed me off. It didn't understand its own fucking point. Don't worry about those idiots live stream. Worry about my video where I debunk your book and claim that you hate England. Joel's already working on the thumbnail. I mean, you do realize with how English my lineage is, you're accusing me of a form of self-loathing. I hope you realize that. My partner sounds like you. She will pad time like mad, even though we have one focus thing to go. Yeah. Welsh Wrestling Geeks. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. I live in Cardiff, and Children of Earth was filmed 10 minutes away from where I live, and I'm still scared to go near the areas. I am in my 20s. Honestly, given that series and like how it lands, I don't blame you. Like, that thing hits like a wrecking ball. It's not gentle. Are there any comic book storylines you'd like to see in the MCU, but only if they spread it over multiple phases like the Infinity Saga? No. Because the thing is, in comic books, the big crossover universe spanning stories aren't the ones that interest me the most, generally speaking. So no, I don't think of it. I'll tell you what one I never want to see. Like, I never want to, like, and I know technically they did Apocalypse in the Fox X-Men, but I never want to see friggin' Age of Apocalypse. And I never want to see any of Cable's BS translated. You want to bring in the character the way Deadpool 2 did it, fine. But, like, his actual storylines, like, that centered around... convoluted, goddamn garbage. Do I like the Scream movies? I like the first one. I've only seen the first 3. I like the first one. The other 2 are Second one's trying. Third one isn't very much. All English people hate themselves. A true English person would know that. Touché. That's French. Did I get your English blood up? Are there any films that require you to have a box of tissues at the ready? I'm not usually a crier, but Ikiru and Malta Story get me every time. I mean, honestly, I did a video a couple of years ago about movies that make me cry every time, so I'm gonna default to that. Yeah, there are some, and yeah, sometimes that stuff really hits. There was something. What the hell was it? There was something that, for some reason, I found myself watching, like, I'm just going to check out this scene again, see if it hits as hard as it did last time I watched it, and it did, and I was an absolute disaster. I can't remember what that was now. That's going to bug me. Ever heard of the author Chuck Tingle? Oh, yes. I'm familiar with Chuck Tingle. I've not read any of Chuck Tingle's work, but I am familiar. Have I seen Hilda? I have. My kid and I watched that together. We need to see the new movie. Sorry I keep pestering you, but do you know Good Omens? Yes, I've read the book. I've seen the show. Both good. I know Soul hit you pretty hard. It did. Yep, it did. Only time I've ever seen you tear up on camera. There's a few other videos where I do. That was one. Talking about Tracy's story, which was an episode of The Accused I got commissioned to review. I choked up towards the end of that one. It's happened a couple times with a few things. But anyways, I think it's it's about time to wrap it up. I have kids. No, I have kid singular. I have one kid. No, I don't have kids plural. I have one kid. Is that not common knowledge? I thought I've been liberal enough with that detail that it was well known at this point. Not that I'm judging you for not knowing that. It's fine. It comes up sporadically. She does not show up on camera. So, you know, it's fine. Do you watch A Discovery of Witches? Nope. Like, there's so much stuff that, like, the thing is, most things that, like, have just started or just coming out or, like, ooh, this came out last year. Have you seen this? Odds are, if I have not made a video on it, I probably didn't watch it. And not necessarily because I was like, not watching that, but just like, there's too much stuff. There's way too much damn stuff. David Dixon, Ford Prefect in the Hitchhiker's TV series was a better Fifth Doctor than the Fifth Doctor. Well, you know, my feelings on Peter Davison are documented. He's a lovely fellow in person, though. I did meet him in 2020 at Gallifrey 1 before everything shut down. Yes, thank you, Carwin, for the reminder. So, tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, I will be continuing to play Final Fantasy VII Remake and working my way through that. And so anyone who wants to watch me there can do so. Twitch.tv/Council of Geeks. Hope to see folks there. Other than that, I'll be streaming again on Friday and then new video here on Saturday. And there's links in the description for all the other nonsense I do, be it Twitch, be it Twitter, be it Instagram, which I barely do anymore. Yeah, most stuff you'll find links to. Not everything, but most of it. What is my most anticipated movie of the year? Not going to tell you that because that is this coming Saturday's video, is the stuff that I think looks exciting this year. Anyways, thank you all. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for spending time with me. And take care of yourselves. And I want you to remember that you are beautiful. You are valid. You are loved. You are the council. I'm just running the meetings. So until next time, this council is adjourned. But Kevin